Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, 2/18/2019, 9 o'clock in the morning. And I got CEO Jim Majors from the Atheist Republic with us and Lawrence from Milwaukee Atheist. Yay. We have a lot of atheists
What's
around
going on,
here.
everybody?
Man, what's up with that? I mean, like
Hello.
atheists are just popping out of the woodwork left and right. They're everywhere. You guys are breeding.
Yeah, I know. This is what happens after all of our child sacrifices.
Is that what it is? You just
make
repopulate?
I mean,
Yeah,
something has to happen.
That's like a ritual.
I mean, something has to happen in the closet. Like, it gets boring in there.
Don't you guys have a special day coming up here? May 23rd or something?
Yes. That's right. May 23rd is the first annual Atheist Day worldwide event. It's really, really awesome. You can go to atheistday.org and get more information on that.
Yeah, I'm on board for that.
I think Jim Majors actually invented that, didn't he?
I don't know about invented, but this is the first annual one.
Oh, hey, is my shirt backwards for you guys?
No. What missing he is something AT spot M. What's missing?
Get it?
Atheism. What's missing? He is.
Oh,
yeah.
He is.
I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is so
awesome.
awesome.
You're just fun. You're just full of fun stuff, aren't you?
You're a fucking bucket of chuckles this morning.
So somebody was actually complaining before we get into the topic today. Somebody was actually complaining on Twitter about Atheist Day, and it was guy Josh, Mr. Debate Expert Extraordinaire, Apologist, whatever the hell he goes by, Apologist
Red
Supreme, I think. Yeah, and I got to stand up for Atheist Day. I was like, look at because he said something along the lines of we want to talk about the benefits of Christianity in society. And I said, what about the benefits of atheism? And he seemed to just discount that. I said, hey, look, believe what you want, but you got to have something to say about atheism, at least being a counterbalance to prevent extreme religiosity, atrocities, and creationism out of schools. And if that's their, agenda, then yeah, go for it. How would I not be standing 100% with them on that? Right.
Right.
So,
no, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's crazy, because there are so many people who have never experienced oppression or bigotry of any kind, being an atheist other than online, there are people out there who don't know what it's like to have to hide it. And so speaking from a position of ignorance and privilege, they come out like on Twitter and they say, well, why do you need a day for atheism? Every day is Atheist Day for me. I can be an atheist any day. Like, why do we need a special day? It's like, well, you may not, but what we do need is to be unified. We need to normalize atheism. And I think that standing up and using our voice together collectively and sending a message is extremely important for any oppressed minority demographic.
Yeah, I can't complain about that at all. I see nothing wrong with that. By the way, I didn't feel like getting dressed this morning. So you guys don't want to see me on cam today. I got to be dressed tonight because we got Jesse Lee Peterson on tonight. So, what's his name? Jesse Lee Patterson? Yeah, whatever.
Jesse Lee Peterson.
Jesse Lee Peterson, yeah. That guy's a character.
Yeah. So I'll dress up for that, but I didn't want to do my whole shtick this morning. So we're just going to go as is. So we're going to dive into this topic because Jim and I were talking this morning, and I don't think we have a huge disagreement. I think it's just minor, but we wanted to discuss some of the reasons why we think agnostic atheist, gnostic theist, and I would say a multiaxial approach to belief and knowledge just doesn't make much sense. And we're going to start off basically, if you guys have seen a multi-axial versus single axial, I'm going to screen share real quick, and then we can talk about it. So let me screen share. Hey, look, it's my screen. So where's my multi-axial thing?
It's behind the porn.
No, I hid the donkey porn. Here we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like the little lines through here. So this is the multi-axial approach. This is what people seem to show a lot of times. Oh, look, agnostic and atheists are down in this direction, and atheists and theists are in this, right? There's a lot of problems with this, a huge amount of epistemic problems. And I'm going to be arguing and see if they kind of agree that the way it should be is more of a landscape approach, which is either similar to this, which is Dr. Malpass's version, view 2 on his use of reason, or I found this one that's pretty good too. It's very simplistic, but it's actually very similar. If you look at this one and this one, yeah, I mean, basically this is saying the same thing. right?
That's like the doc.
What's that, Jim? You muted yourself. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, that's the pretty much the Dawkins scale of 1 to 7.
Similar. No, Dawkins scale is a little bit different because Dawkins has a surety. He'll say like a 7 is sure. Gnostic doesn't
Right.
necessarily mean surety, right? If you look at Malpass's diagram, if you start off in the center, as you approach surety, right, you don't have to actually be at surety to have knowledge.
Sure.
And so
Right.
the agnostic theist in this case would be somebody who believes that it's true, and an agnostic theist would be somebody who knows it's true, or believes that they know it's true. I think that's a very hard position to actually.
But can you believe something without having knowledge of it?
You can believe something without having knowledge, but you can't know something without having belief. Knowledge entails belief, but belief does not entail knowledge. So if you look in the diagram, as you approach certainty, right? As you go this way, you have to have belief first. I have to believe the proposition, and then I can know the proposition. So if we say I know P, that entails I also believe P.
But people believe on faith, and faith is just a type of knowledge. It's generally conceded that faith is knowledge.
No, I disagree. Belief has nothing to do with faith in this particular regard. Belief is what you think a proposition is true, that you're convinced a proposition is true.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is what when you guys had Cy on last, like this is what was really getting to me, because he kept saying that Christianity is not a belief in God, it's a knowledge that He exists, and it's like, well, whether or not God exists, you also believe it.
Yeah.
Like that was
well,
just
the only problem here is that knowledge does not have any certain degree of certainty. Rather, it is just what is justifiable to you. What is a justifiable belief, or not justifiable belief, but a justifiable piece of evidence could be considered knowledge. It doesn't have to be true.
Well, yeah,
so
it does.
I believe
no. Knowledge has to be true by definition. You cannot have false knowledge.
True to empirically.
Yes, knowledge must be true. There was okay.
No. Hold on. It doesn't have to be true.
That's knowledge must be true. The proposition has to be true. The proposition has to be true, and you have to believe the proposition to have knowledge.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But
it doesn't have to be proven.
No, it doesn't be proven. No, it just has to be true. You can't have false knowledge. You can't say, well, my knowledge was wrong. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's nonsensical. You can say I had a false belief. I wrote a blog on this called The Principle of Attribution and Retraction. If anyone wants to go read it on www.greatdebatecommunity.com. And the way it would work is very simple. If let's say I say, hey, Jim, I believe it's going to rain tomorrow. And let's say it doesn't. Okay, well, I just had a false belief, right? I was wrong. No big deal. No harm, no foul. Crap happens.
Right.
Now,
unless you were justified in believing that.
Well, hang on. I was still wrong. I would know, regardless if I was justified or not. You can have a justified false belief or an unjustified false belief. So a justified false belief would be, okay, well, I looked at the Doppler radar. I know a little about meteorology. I made a prediction. It didn't happen, right? Predictions, when it comes to predicting the weather, don't always come true.
Sure.
But I would be justified to have that false belief. I was like, okay, I was justified to have it, but I was wrong.
No. That is a justified true belief.
No, because it wasn't true. It has to be true to have a justified true.
No, but the belief is true. It is a true belief.
No. You're confused. The beliefs are always
okay. So
a belief that is true means that the propositional state is true. So if I believe it's raining, it's raining has to be true for me to have that belief to be a justified true belief. It's not that it's true that I believe it.
Okay.
It's axiomatic.
Fair
That's
enough.
because of its recorded.
Okay, but it is they are justified in believing that the proposition is true. Yes.
If they have reasons to, like the Doppler radar, meteorology.
Okay,
but if I said, hey, Jim, I have a magic 8-ball, and the magic 8-ball told me it's going to rain tomorrow. Am I justified to believe that?
No.
Clearly not.
I mean, well, it all depends. I don't know what your level of standards of acceptance for justification are.
There's no way in the world you can convince some epistemologists that the magic 8-ball is a standard for justification. Not going to ever happen.
Not an epistemologist, but
well, I guess.
But I mean,
that's irrational. Even if for anybody, you cannot have.
Of course, it's irrational.
But that's not justified by definition. Yeah. It's irrational. To be justified, it has to be rational. That's the whole point.
Rational or logical?
Rational. If I guess by guessing inherently is unjustified. If I say, hey, are you guessing that it's going to rain tomorrow? Then that's an unjustified belief one way or another. You can't guess and have a justified belief.
So is a God belief a justified belief?
An individual can think so. Yeah, I think you can justify a belief in God. Sure,
But
but
do they
it
have
depends
any
how they do it. If
justified?
they say, "Hey,"
But is it a justified true belief?
well, it's hard to say if
Well,
it's
that's a
true belief.
different thing. But
That's
I mean,
the
like,
point. What do you?
yeah, that's why we're doing all this.
That's the argument. Does God exist?
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah, sure.
The thing is, with being justified, like a person that had some sort of personal experience, that you could say that they're justified in their God belief. That doesn't mean that you're justified to, believe them, but
Right.
you could say that.
Well, I mean, to me, I kind of hold to Nozick, as far as this goes. If it
Are you quoting Nozick? You're gonna really quote Nozick? Really?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Nice.
That
I just talked about Nozick last night, actually, to Ozzy.
I think Ruben is reading one of his books.
So according to Nozick, and correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but if the justification is false, then that automatically deems knowledge being false.
Yes. Under justified true belief. Wait. Under JTB, there's many different theories of knowledge. There's reliabilism. There's pragmatic theory of knowledge. There's consensus theory of knowledge.
I wouldn't say that it's under. I would say that it's a reworking because that original theory did not entail Nozick's.
Yeah, well, they've revamped JTB to have JTB plus. Have you heard of that? They added a fourth condition, and the fourth condition.
I don't know.
Yeah, truth tracking condition.
It was wisdom.
No, a truth tracking condition is to say that it's called sensitivity, and what it is saying that if a subject believes P in the next possible world, it would be the case that they did in the next possible world over, then it would still count as knowledge, but that involves possible world semantics, and it's very confusing to say the least. But Linda, her last name is Zabagiski, I think you pronounce her name. I can never pronounce her name right, Zabagiski, but she wrote a really good paper, and I really liked it on belief first theories will always have Getty error issues, no matter if you however you look at them, because they're all going to have luck involved, what's called epistemic luck. And so it doesn't matter whether you do truth tracking or not. But yeah, JDP has some real issues to it, but it's pretty basic. And just for sake of the argument, we can use JTB. I like reliabilism myself, but whatever. But for the sake of this particular discussion, justification is different than having the belief or not, right? So in that case where I believe there was raining, I could be wrong on that. And what I do is I say, hey, look, I had a false belief. Whether I was justified or not, I had a false belief. Now, let's say that I said today, hey, Jim, I know it's going to rain tomorrow. If it turns out tomorrow it didn't rain, I didn't say that my knowledge was wrong. I said I never had knowledge to begin with.
But
right?
the difference. But that's the truth aspect of the JTB, though, so it's not considered knowledge.
It's not considered knowledge because knowledge by definition has to be true. The proposition has to be true.
Right. It has to be justified, and it has to be true, and it has to be a belief.
Right. Yeah. And but I believed it, and I had Doppler radar, and I made a really intuitive guess based on induction, but it didn't come true. If you didn't have knowledge then.
But at the time that you made the prediction, you had knowledge. Yes.
No, I disagree. In order for that to have knowledge, the proper.
No. Come on, really?
Wait. Yeah, Jim. How do you have? Listen to me carefully.
You can't have knowledge if the thing turns out.
It's a future event.
Wrong.
Yeah. How do you have?
No. It hasn't turned out to be wrong.
Jim, think about this. The proposition is it's going to rain tomorrow. That is not a true or false statement because it hasn't happened yet. So you can't say it's true because it's in the future. This is one of the problems with truth makers for future propositions.
But can you say that it's false?
I would say I wouldn't even have it evaluated because it's neither true or false. It's an unknown.
Tomorrow the Earth will be flat. Is that true or false?
Yeah,
no, that's. If you are justified to believe that, then I would say that I would call that knowledge. I wouldn't call it true, but I would call it knowledge.
It's not knowledge. I think you're confusing explicit knowledge with epistemological knowledge. Knowledge must be the proposition has to be true. P has to be true. Period.
Do people know that Jesus is coming back?
I don't think they have knowledge for that, but I'm agnostic, and I hold that nobody really has knowledge.
Okay. Right. You don't think that they do, but they know they do.
Well, they could be wrong though. They think that they do,
right.
But they don't. Sure.
But I mean, then again, to be fair, you are an agnostic talking about, positive claims.
They're all positive claims. Every claim is a positive claim in some way. Russell points out that every negative claim is still a positive claim.
Yeah, sure. Well,
but anyway,
it could be, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, this is the way I'm going to be looking at it, and then let's kind of look at the diagram here, if you don't mind, real quick. We want to go like one by one, because I think we disagreed on Gnostic Theist, actually, of all things. I think we agreed on the rest of them, which is odd. Everybody kind of gives me crap about Agnostic Atheist, but you and I disagreed on Gnostic Theist, which I thought was interesting. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have the hangout. I was like, wow, that's cool. That's different.
No, and probably a year ago, I definitely would have disagreed with you, but now, I mean, it's very clear that agnosticism is a subset of non-belief and atheism is a subset of non-belief, but they don't entail one or the other.
Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, I just had a blog on that today. I put it in the video description if you want to read my latest entry, and I do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. So if it's got errors, please let me know. But
3 a.m. philosophy.
3 a.m. philosophy. I really do write them at 3 a.m. But it's called Philosophy, Epistemology, Atheism, and Dissemination of False Beliefs. I'm going to do a multi-part series. This first one is on the atheist false belief that atheism and theism is a dichotomy. That has to die, because I'm getting people on my videos coming on the comment section, and they're just insisting that theism and atheism are a dichotomy. And then you ask them the difference between a contrary, a contradictory, and a dichotomy, and they have no idea. And I'm like, look, then you're making an assertion on things you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Theism and atheism are not dichotomies. They're not a dichotomy of each other. It's as simple as that. They're called contradictories. But anyways, we'll get into that another time. So if you can read this with the line through it, I can find one without the line, but I think we know what it says. So let's look at the agnostic atheist. Does not believe any gods exist. Doesn't claim to know that no God exists. There's a few problems with that right off the bat. First of all, how is this any different than agnostic?
Yeah, it's exactly agnosticism. This quadrant, exactly. To me, I mean, this is built on the assumption that atheism is equivalent to non-belief.
Yeah, and so by doing that, one, this is really no different than agnostic, and it's sure. Worse. It's nonsensical, because if you're going to have atheist as the negative, as a not believing something, you cannot have an epistemic modification. This would be a dosastic position normally to say.
Well, you can say that you're an agnostic non-believer.
Well, that's redundant though. All agnostics are non-believers.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, it's redundant, but I wouldn't say that it's wrong necessarily. But I would say that it's another.
Wrong. I mean, superfluous.
Yeah.
There's a difference between wrong and superfluous, right? I mean, this is why I think that agnostic atheist is nonsensical, which is more than just superfluous in the weak case. If I was to make this a positive case, if I would say atheism is the belief that the gods don't exist, then this would make a little bit more sense. It wouldn't be nonsensical. It'd just be superfluous, because at that point you're saying, I believe gods don't exist, but I'm not claiming it as knowledge. Okay, well, that's no different than an atheist. That's what an atheist would be. I believe there are no gods, but I'm not claiming it as knowledge. So agnostic atheist in the hard case is completely superfluous. What the hell's the difference? So in the hard case, it's superfluous. In the weak, it's either nonsensical or agnostic. Depends on how you want to look at it. It's redundant. Yeah.
I mean, looking at it philosophically, like the quadrant itself is fallacious, but to say agnostic atheist is, it's like saying a duck chicken. You're like, what's a duck chicken?
Funny mentioning that, because Cirrus has a very good video coming out this Wednesday that I've already watched, and he's going to be talking about this very thing. And he even points out that, in philosophy, this is just complete crap. But in colloquial terms, people use it, and I'm not arguing against that. But they need to understand what these things really are telling somebody, because they have so many stipulative definitions. I've had people tell me agnostic atheist means the weirdest things, and I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know what you mean by that? It's like that's not anything I would even devise by because they're mixing an epistemological principle with a position on theism. If I say agnostic is an epistemological proposition, which is gods are unknowable, then I'm conflating that with the proposition of God existing. You're conflating literally epistemology with ontology. And I've explained that numerous times to people. Matt Dillahunty, even has in a video to Anthony Magnabosco saying pretty much something similar. Knowledge is a subset belief. Therefore, he no longer holds that agnostic atheism is valid. He thinks it's a nonsensical position in the weak case. And I've talked to him on that directly. I've actually had, face-to-face, over the on the internet, face-to-face communication with him on that particular topic, and I wanted to make sure that's actually his position, and it is. He changed it from 5 or 6 years ago. But all right, so let's move to the next one. A Gnostic atheist. Now this one's not nonsensical, except in the weak case. Well, it's again, how do you, if you says does not believe God exists, then how do you have a knowledge if knowledge is a subset of belief? It makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, right. Well, and to me, it's the same thing as a Gnostic theist. I mean, a Gnostic theist is just as ridiculous.
But this one I think is worse. This one literally says, I claim to know God exists, but I don't hold it as a belief. What? This is what I'm saying. When people post this thing, they don't have a freaking clue how dumb it sounds.
Wait, hold on. No.
But what they don't understand is that the first proposition does not believe any God exists can definitely be reworded to say as a positive claim, does believe no God exists.
Well, that's a different thing though. That's in the strong case. That's fine.
No,
right, that's what I'm saying.
The strong case is not nonsensical. If I say I believe gods do not exist and I know it, that's not nonsensical. That's not even superfluous. That's actually okay.
But that's what this is though. Sorry, Lawrence, go ahead.
No, so the thing is, I wouldn't say that not believing gods exist and believing no gods exist. They aren't mutually exclusive.
Well, no, because if you believe, okay, look at, if I believe there are no gods, that entails I do not believe gods exist. Okay, but this is saying that I only do not believe gods exist. It mentions nothing about believing gods don't exist. That's the problem. If this was to say does believe gods do not exist and claims to know it, there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. Because now you're actually modifying something, because the atheist is saying I believe gods don't exist, but I'm now going to modify that with an epistemic modification saying, oh, not only is it that I just don't, not only is it just I have a belief that the gods don't exist, I'm claiming it as knowledge. That's okay with that, but that's not how this quadrant is written. So as it's written, it's crap. Would you agree? Because you can't say I don't believe gods exist and then say to go on and say knowledge. I mean, yes, that might be true if and only if you actually hold a belief that gods don't exist, but this doesn't entail that. It doesn't say that's the case. It could be.
Well, and I mean, it all hinges on conflation, though. It all hinges on word usage. What I think that they fail to do here, I mean, is to properly express the way that they're using these words.
Oh yeah, well, this is vague. This is vague stuff. This is why I can't stand this diagram. It's crap. It just it's very vague. But I mean, what do you think would be the best method, the best mean concept? I like the linear way, like I showed you earlier.
Linear?
Yeah, you can do it that way. Yeah, I mean, it's not great, but it's better.
Well,
I don't like. I don't like mixing agnostic and atheist together as it is. But what the linear one seems to do is put agnosticism on a 0, like it's a default. Not necessarily a default, but it is in the middle. It's definitely in the middle.
It's in the middle, but it's left leaning.
No, I don't think so. I mean, an agnostic is just as much near a theist as an atheist.
Well, I mean, sinner is what is between believer and non-believer, right?
No, believer and believe. No. That's the misconception. It's centered between believer of it's true and believer that it's false.
Right.
Okay, there's a big difference there. A theist will say that God's
true, or you don't believe it's true.
No.
Yes. And within you don't believe it's true, you have hang on. And within the don't believe that it's true, you have the know that it's not true, and then the don't know if it's true.
Okay, let me explain it to you. There's a actual dichotomy between I believe and I don't believe. Okay.
Right.
Okay, but that's not where atheism is not in the middle there. The atheism
it's not. It's on the left.
No. It is a non-believer. Yeah, it's on the non-believer side, right? But what it's in the middle of is I believe that it's true and I believe that it's false. It's been between those two separate contradictory beliefs. If I believe gods exist or I believe gods don't exist, that's where atheism is in the middle, agnosticism in the middle. Here, let me show you in the diagram.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Right here. So theist, right, will say I believe P, right? Believes P. The atheist says I believe not P. They take the disbelief position. Which I have a blog post on that I just came out with. I'm gonna be doing another one on it. Disbelief means to accept the negation. contrary to what you hear on atheist experience, they're wrong. It's straight up wrong. I mean, I can give you documentation at the yin on that. But you have three epistemic states. You have belief, disbelief, and suspension of judgment. So disbelief means to believe the negation. So the atheist is going to say, I believe that there are no gods. So this is where agnostic lies. Well, he doesn't say, I don't believe that's true, and I don't believe it's false. That's why it's this not BP and not B and not P. That's where it's in the middle.
So are you saying that agnosticism is the line?
No, agnosticism is this area. It doesn't have to be like
okay.
exactly
So
0.5.
So where would you draw the line between belief and non-belief?
Well, that's going to be somewhere. I mean, this is a gray area between belief. I mean, well, belief and non-belief. This right here is non-belief. All this is non-belief.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
so
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Let me say this border right here is I believe and I believe. On both sides are beliefs. These are both agnostics. Is just in the middle between two different beliefs.
Well, one's a belief and one is the rejection of the belief.
But that's still a belief.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to clarify for everybody.
Yeah, believes. See, they got the B. This is not believe. So all this is not believe. This is what we call a weak atheist right here, not BP. They say, well, I just don't believe. That's this. The agnostic says, not only that, but I don't believe that's false either.
The point that I was trying to make, though, is that the line on the right side of agnostic and the left side of theist, that dividing line right there, can be considered a dividing line, where on the left is the rejection of the claim and on the right is the belief of the claim.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't use the rejection, but not acceptance. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, so we do agree that the top part of this is just crap so far, right? Lawrence?
Yes.
You on board with that?
Yeah, makes sense.
Awesome. All right, so down here we have agnostic theist. Believes that God exists, but doesn't know that his belief to be knowledge. Okay, so how is that any different than just saying you're a theist? Theist is not making a knowledge claim. It's the same freaking thing, people. So this is redundant. To say you're agnostic, but redundant.
But at the same time, I think this is whenever they're using agnostic and gnostic, I think they are trying to use degrees of certainty.
If that was the case, then it would be a different. I think it'd be a different diagram.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean the landscape is more of that.
It would be more linear and less quadrant.
The single axial vice a multi-axial. But so far we have this is nonsensical. This is nonsensical. This is redundant or superfluous. So this leaves the last one. This is where we disagreed. You think Gnostic theist?
Actually, guys.
What?
So sorry, I couldn't stay for the last and most controversial part.
You gotta go. You have to go.
Yeah. I got to get to class.
Okay.
Okay, man. Have a good one.
All right, have a good one, guys.
By the way, link to join is in the video description if people want to come in. All right,
you guys want.
Yeah, come on in. So let's look at Gnostic theist then. Believes a God exists, claims to know God exists. Now, you think this is nonsensical. I just think it's I actually don't even have a problem with this one.
I don't have a problem with it because it uses the word claims to know.
Yeah. Well, what was your issue before? Because let me tell you why. This is the only one that I really don't have a major issue with. Because you can say, I believe God does not, I believe God exists, and makes you a theist. Now, if you want to modify that with an epistemic modifier to make it more than just ostastic, okay, great. You can do that. Now I'm saying, not only do I believe that God exists, but I'm also making it a knowledge claim. You're making it appear. And by the way, this can read KP entails BP, because if you have KP here, you also have BP. So, yeah, so I don't even have a problem. The only one that makes sense to me.
Would you call BP the agnostic atheist and the KP the gnostic theist?
KP would be the gnostic theist, yeah. And then BP would be the agnostic theist. But that's again just theist.
So what is that? Okay, so what is wrong with the
BP?
Okay, so if you go back to the other side, you've got so you've got a KP and a BP, which are just positive claims for the same proposition, but just different. Okay.
The proposition here is God exists, basically. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that quadrant would work if you would leave out the agnostics. If it was just atheist versus theist, that would work. if you didn't use the term agnostic, if you used a different terminology.
Well, I kind of been telling people that they really shouldn't be using the terms agnostic and agnostic together. I mean,
Right.
people don't realize that these are separate terms. These are not related. Gnostic and agnostic are unrelated to each other, even though they're similar. They're not related. Gnostic was a form of second century Gnosticism, which Thomas Huxley kind of coined the phrase agnosticism because he was comparing them to modern Gnostics of his time. He thought that they didn't have justification to hold any kind of claim to knowledge of gods or even belief. And so he coined the term agnosticism. These are unrelated terms. Even Wiki says don't confuse them. And yet, look what they do on these things. They just blend them all together and say, oh, look, we have Gnostic for knowledge and agnostic for atheist. Well, no, agnostic, this Gnos, was not meant to have knowledge in that. That's not what it was for. Huxley coined the term not for knowledge, but the illusion of knowledge. Right? He thought these people were making claims they shouldn't be making because they weren't justified to do it. So agnostic doesn't really have crap to do with knowledge in that regard. It only does in the epistemological sense for a proposition, which could be gods are unknowable or not. But that's a different proposition altogether.
I'm trying to get one of my best friends in here. He's we were actually talking about this last night, and it was just, I mean, he was like me, he was introduced to new atheism, to Dawkins and everything, into the quadrants and the sliding scale. And it I think it might've been a bit much for him, but I mean, he seemed to be really receptive of it. But I think that had he not been my friend, and had he not, I don't think people are very receptive of these things. And, I made a post on Twitter yesterday, I think, just talking about, just the dangers of tribalism and group thinking, and just how, people will appoint themselves a leader and look to an idol, and then devoid that person of any wrongdoing or being able to say anything wrong. And it's just, and then they just, I mean, I think it's quite hypocritical to me. It's not any different than somebody holding up, a Bible and saying, this is true. This is all I need.
I see it daily. As a matter of fact, recently, one of my other blogs where I made a very good argument about what disbelief actually is utilized in the literature. And you know what the biggest rebuttal people had? And I'm not even kidding. This was probably a dozen people on, especially Philosophical Insiders on, Facebook. The biggest complaint they had was, oh, well, Matt Dillahunty wasn't really wrong from his perspective. So he can tell a caller he's wrong, that he can't use the term properly because Matt has his own versions of definitions. I'm like, so if a caller calls into a creationist show and says, evolution is a change of allelic frequency, or in a given population of species from one generation to the next generation over time, and the caller host says, no, that's wrong. Evolution is just change. Oh, no, theory is not a well-substantiated explanation or predictive model. No, it just means guess. We wouldn't let a creationist get away with that. So why that's a hypothesis. Yeah. So why is it that I'm getting flack by people saying, well, Matt Dillahunty was right? No, he wasn't. Guaranteed he was not correct. He told a caller he was wrong when the caller said disbelief means the rejection of a claim in when it comes to propositional logic. That's what it's understood to be. I've cited numerous, Russell.
And if you think about it for 5 freaking seconds, just 5 seconds is all you have to think about it. If somebody came running into my house, into my front door, and said, "There's a pink unicorn in the road," I'd say, "Get the fuck out of my house!" I don't believe you. What are you talking about?
Not believing. When you disbelieve, you're saying that person is false. You're literally saying the opposite. You're taking the opposite position here. Disbelief, positive.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, it is positive unbelief. Mental rejection.
Okay,
listen to me.
Let's go to the gumballs.
No.
If I say there are an even amount of gumballs in there, and you say that I'm wrong, are you in disbelief?
Yeah, if I say you're wrong, that means I'm saying the opposite. You're confusing disbelief and unbelief. Unbelief may be a simple failure to believe from lack of evidence or knowledge. If you say, "Hey, Steve, the gumballs are even," and I say I don't believe you, that's unbelief. But Matt Dillahunty is confusing unbelief with disbelief. Disbelief is the assertion of the negation. Big difference.
Can you have disbelief in their knowledge?
Here, wait, right here. Disbelief. If you conclude a position to be false, then the appropriate attitude toward that proposition is disbelief. That's where do I have that? Right here. So this is from Rutgers University. Disbelief. If you conclude that a proposition is false, then the appropriate attitude toward that proposition is disbelief. That means that you think the proposition is false. Atheism is disbelief. It's not unbelief. Big difference.
If the proposition is, I know that God is real, then you can say, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you know that.
That's unbelief. That's not disbelief.
Okay. But you can be an agnostic and tell them that you don't believe them.
Of course.
Just because.
Of course, absolutely. I do that all the time. I don't believe a lot of people. I'm allowed to do that as an agnostic. Sure.
But what I'm saying is, it's the same thing with the gumballs. Somebody can walk up to it and say, I know there's an odd amount of gumballs in there, and you can say, I don't believe you. Like, I don't believe that you have knowledge that there's an odd amount of
but I agree with you, but that wasn't what Matt said to the caller. The caller said disbelief means that you're asserting that the proposition's false. And he's like, no, that's not what disbelief means. And it's like, wait a minute, you want look at it, if you want to have your proprietary stipulative definitions for American atheists, go ahead, or atheist experience, you're allowed to, okay? But you cannot tell somebody who had the proper use of it with respect to a proposition that they're wrong. Because they weren't wrong.
Yeah,
they weren't wrong at all. That's exactly what, when you see disbelief and you're reading something, that's what it entails. That, oh wait, I'm not screen sharing, am I? Was I screen sharing? Did you guys see that on the outside? I don't know.
No, you're not.
Okay, so maybe you guys didn't see this. So, yeah, that's right. So let me show you this. So, can you see this? Maybe this will make more sense. Okay, so this is why you guys didn't see it. I'm sorry to the outside chat. You guys are probably going, "What the hell is he talking about?" So this is Rutgers University. Disbelief. If you conclude that a proposition is false, then the appropriate attitude toward that proposition is disbelief, which is actually in alliance with Moore's what's called epistemic. Thank you. Epistemic logic. And that you have acceptance, rejection, or lack of decision, which is suspension of judgment. And so it actually says it actually says you can deny, reject, or disbelief as all the same things. They're all to affirm the negation. Now that's different from unbelief. If you look into the actual etymology here, and this is from the etymological dictionary, which again, dictionaries are useful, but I'm not making an argument from dictionary, but even they note unbelief may be the simple failure to believe from lack of evidence or knowledge, right? So you say, hey, Steve, I don't believe that they're even. You're expressing unbelief. But if you say, I disbelieve you, you're saying that they're not even. You're saying that they're odd. Because you're asserting the negation.
Yeah, that's true, because disbelief also insinuates that it's a positive claim of belief that it's not.
Yes, disbelief, rejection, and I deny. Like this is Russell here. I deny that P is true.
Yeah.
And also some opposite.
I got you.
And then Moore's framework was very, very similar. Now, the arguments that people have been giving me is basically, well, Matt was correct in his own usage. Well, okay, well, so what? If I say, hey, Matt, evolution is the change of allelic frequency, and he says, no, evolution just means change, I'm going to say you're right. He's not really having a meaningful conversation at that point. And he can't tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That's what it means in the literature. So I think it's tribalism. I mean, literally it's tribalism. People are like, oh, well you know,
it's ridiculous. Like, I mean, if we know rain as the meteorological sensation of evaporation and condensation and then precipitation, and somebody's coming out and saying it's raining cats and dogs, you're like, it's not possible. It's not, that's
not rain. That's just water from the sky.
It's
not rain.
Yeah. It's just water from the sky.
It's water from the sky.
Words words have usages, and all that means, but that you're using the usages and it's making sense, is that it's logical. But just because something's logical does not mean that it's true.
Yeah, it could be unsound. But you would agree that if somebody's going to come to me and say, well, Matt was right, then you have to, without being hypocritical, then if somebody calls in a creationist show and tells them what a theory is in science, and they say, well, no, theory just means guess, they have to accept that. And I think that's crap. You don't have to accept that nonsense.
If a theist at any point were to call into Matt's show and make some kind of a wild claim, and Matt says, well, can you verify that for me? Like, can you give me some sources? And all the Christian has to say is, well, everybody knows that.
It's in the dictionary.
That's what everybody said.
It says theory is a guess in the dictionary.
Yeah.
And this argument from dictionary is ridiculous.
Well, and also this I don't want to say, and I mean, it's really, and and appeal to a false authority, because nobody, I mean, whenever somebody's using a word, I can take any given sentence that anybody uses that I understand what they're saying, and I can go and pick out, you know, one or two words, and I can totally change the meaning of their sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. But you can't tell somebody they're wrong on it. Look, if somebody wants to say atheism is lack of belief, I'm not going to tell them I'm wrong on it. But if they want to understand how it actually is in the literature, that's a different story. And if they say, well, that's not how it is in the literature, then they are wrong. That's a material fact you can call them out on.
But see, if somebody was saying that atheism is pink unicorns, and somebody else was saying that atheism is the disbelief in God, then those are two completely different things. I'd be like, well, you can believe that if you want. But me personally, I think that the distinction here is so close, that the margin for error is so wide. I think it's really important that distinctions need to be made whenever people conflate words this closely. You know what I mean? Within the same context.
But for example, you know my arguments pretty well, and you're a pretty well read dude. I would consider you to be of a scholarly nature. You look at things from a very scholarly point of view, right? I mean, you're not an ad hoc kind of person. You want to know the literature, and
I try not to be.
Yeah, I know, and I think that's the way you have to approach things if you want to be objective, fair, and rational. But have you really looked at some of the people like saying that I'm wrong? Has any of them ever in any way demonstrated that I'm wrong, or even had a rational argument that I'm wrong in any of this? No,
not a single one. And just since I've been on Twitter, I've seen hundreds of people disagree with you. And currently, for everybody listening, Steve is trying to find somebody to debate him on this, and none of these people will debate him. None of them. Not a single damn one.
I want them to. I'm not just lobbying. I want them to, because I want to get my information.
And you know why? Because for the first time in their life, they spent 30 minutes to an hour of Googling and doing some research that they had not done before, Steve. They had never tried to validate this particular belief of theirs before. But now, in discovering this thing and saying, oh, I'm about to prove Steve wrong, you know, I'm about to take him up on this debate and slam him, they go, oh, hang on a second. I need to take about 2 steps back, you know?
Yeah, and by the way, Cyrus in the live chat, I just mentioned this earlier. Cyrus wasn't here. Cyrus has a video coming on Wednesday that is really good. Look forward to it. I'm going to be sharing the crap out of it. He did a really good job. And he's got skills. He got mad video skills.
Yeah, I saw that. He actually has the little template where he does his hairline with the spray. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly. He kind of like spray pasting on, right? Yeah, he does the same thing with you. By the way.
He always gives me a hard time in the live chat, so it's my one and only opportunity to
and you know he's short too, right?
Yeah, so I'm dropping that elbow on him.
Yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to that video because, like I said, I've already seen it. It's quite good. Yeah, any kind of minor issues with it is just really minor, but like I said, I think he did a really good job on it. He calls atheists out. He's like, look, stop telling people that they're wrong when they're not exactly wrong. If you want to use colloquial uses, go ahead, but you can't say that a person using academic citations and using formal terminology is wrong. You just say, I don't want to use it that way because I'm not a formal person. Okay, fine, do what you got to do. But I mean, like, none of them is going to, I don't think, ever going to really debate me on this, because what are they going to debate? Oh, I have a dictionary. They're going to, I'm telling you, I'll mock the crap out of them.
But it's great now, though, because you forced all of these people to go and at least do some sort of initial discovery on this. And it's honestly, I see a wave. I see change coming, and I see more acceptance. And at the same time, I see a lot of vitriol and defiance. But I think that overall, the honesty and intellect will win in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I see a wave too. I notice people saying, well, atheists I know believe this. I'm like, well, you don't hang out with atheists I know, because I know a lot of educated atheists, and most of them, if not all of them, I would say that almost all of them will at least agree that my usages are actually what would be taught in universities, what's found in the literature. They would at least agree with that. And then most of them do accept it as their particular usage as well. Not all of them. I mean, Sir is a colloquial atheist, but he's also a philosophical agnostic. He knows the difference. That to me is great. If you know the difference, I don't give a fuck. If he wants to call himself an atheist, I've never argued with him. For a year or something now, we've had a great meeting of the minds. You do this, I do that. No big deal. There's no right or wrong. We're happy. It's good, you know. But if I say, hey, sirs, you're wrong for this, then I'd be an asshole, and I'm not, because I don't think he is. And if you say, Steve, you're wrong on this, he'd be an asshole because he doesn't think I'm wrong on it. So it's all you have to have an understanding. By the way, you muted again. I'm gonna unmute you for you.
Oh,
I got you.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's like my friend said, atheists everywhere, when asked a question, some of them seem so willing to say that they'll say, well, I don't know, but I'll find out. I'm willing to discover that. But they will only apply that to new ideas, to things that they don't already have a solid position on. But I think it's just human nature for these things that we hold to be tribal, these things that we hold to be true under false pretenses, out of whether it's emotional or irrational, whatever it is, it's irrational methods.
Well, that's all I've heard.
I think that we need to be willing to say, I don't know, but I'll find out, to every question that we're presented with that we don't know that we know the answer to. I think that we need to know why we believe what we believe. And if we don't know why we believe it, we shouldn't be stating it as a positive claim.
No, I don't have a problem with any of that, to be honest with you. I really don't. But what happens is they're just so, and I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here, but they're indoctrinated. They're indoctrinated that most of them have never even heard any of this before. They're like, Steve, atheism, theism, that's your only positions. You can't, it's a dichotomy. And I think to myself, not a single one of these people have ever read a paper on this topic. It's worse than the mythicism thing. It's so egregious to the point of being comical that anybody who thinks that atheism is like and theism is a dichotomy doesn't have a freaking clue what they're talking about. They just don't. It's not even up for discussion at that point.
I honestly think that is the equivalent, because I don't know how many people that I've challenged to a Jesus mythicist debate, and literally I don't know that they went and researched it, but I will say that within a couple of hours, they said that they can't debate me.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm not a mythicist either. I mean, I just don't think it's a strong argument. That's all. I think it's interesting. I think that Carrier's Bayesian is interesting. I think it's just a misuse of it, though. I think it's out of scope, and even if it wasn't, so what? It's not a very convincing argument, to say the least. But anyways, the people in the live chat, feel free to read my blog. We're gonna get some people coming in here. And let me know what you think. Again, I will tell you this up front, and I've been telling people this for a while now. If all you're going to do is come after me and saying, well, I have a dictionary that says this, you're not going to get a response, or at least of anything of any substance.
But Steve, I have this book.
I have this book. It's called a dictionary. Nice spray on hair, by the way.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah,
I remember that was commercials.
It's very, very, very thick and full.
Was that before your time, Chris? When you're like, you spray on hair?
No, actually, it's not before my time. I saw those infomercials growing up, and as an adult now, I look back and I'm like, those were showed in 360p. I wonder if they'd look as good in HD.
Oh, they were. Yeah, they were low res. How do you remember that stuff? That was so years ago. I mean, you're not that old.
I can say that I've actually seen it in person in full 1080. So it's not impressive.
Look at your hair. Wait till you get a bald spot, Jim. You're gonna freak out.
I've got the receding hairline, man.
But that's okay. See, Jim could shave his head and he'll look just as fine. Nobody's gonna give a shit.
No way, dude. Look at my profile. Look at this dome.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. Yeah, that's good. You got a good profile. Yeah.
Well,
that's why my Twitter.
At least you guys have
right.
losing your hair in your 20s, because I started losing my hair like right now.
I lost mine in the 30s. I started losing mine, Jay. But I started getting gray when I was like 17.
I'm losing my hair now.
Because you're older than you were.
Jay, go get a camera or get a virtual camera so people can at least see something on the screen, because you don't show up in the chat.
I didn't start balding or graying, but I swear, like when I woke up 30, like I think that's when I found all of my gray hair.
Yeah.
You woke up 30 and you were just like, Atheist Republic is going to kill me.
A little tip.
I was like, I woke up 30 and said, Atheist Republic is a hate group.
Because Dean says so. If you a little tip real quick, if you go get OBS and download, and you have to install it manually, it's kind of a pain, but you can do what's called a virtual camera for OBS, and like I'm doing it right now through OBS, and so you don't need your actual camera to see you, but at least show something on the screen. So like Jake, nobody on the outside can see you. So
okay,
I can hear you though.
I'm on my phone, so that's why.
Okay, no big deal. But anyways, so I want to get live chats thing again. I want people to challenge me on this. I don't mind, but I'm just not going to go down to a level of base crap. It's just not worth my time. Wait for you. Wait till Wednesday to watch Chris's video. and then go after him, bitch at him.
Yeah,
I
think
already
that,
expect flack.
that
It'll be fun.
His video is
Yeah.
good. There's nothing really to bitch about.
I think a really important distinction to be made is that if you are trying to elevate the argument from a colloquial argument, then you need to elevate not only the argument, but you need to elevate the jargon to match.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. Like I said, I mean, if people don't want to, that's fine. But you can't tell me I'm wrong for using proper terminology and proper understanding of logic.
Exactly.
And one of the
right.
points I get to in the video on that is basically, as long as your interlocutor knows what your term means, that's pretty that's pretty much the extent. Like once they know what you mean, then you can just move forward instead of arguing semantics.
Yeah, and that's why I get pissed off when people say that I'm wrong. It's like, look, you don't have to use the terminology I use, but to say I'm wrong, you're an idiot. This is not that's something that can really be demonstrated that I'm wrong on. I'm pretty well certain on it. I don't know who this person is. Should I take the chance?
That's one method of like conflict resolution that I see people like Shannon Q use. For people who just seem to be talking past each other, it's usually just a misunderstanding or a misinterpretation, and having that outside perspective. Shannon Q usually will say, okay, well, this is your position, right? Am I understanding this? And kind of summarize it for him. And the other one, and once she gets both of theirs right, then both of them understand it. Then both of them can either continue the argument from there, or they can admit that, oh, well, yeah, I was just saying it wrong. I was misunderstanding you. My bad.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, Sean Carroll says, Steve, you can't challenge logic. Yeah, anybody who knows logic knows I'm right.
Whatever.
And that's what pisses me off. The people that say I'm wrong, I ask them to show me the logic's wrong. Not one of them does. It's like, so you don't know basic logic. And I'm not a logic guy. I mean, I don't know formal logic very well. I know the basics. I know a little bit of propositional, a little bit of predicate. But if you don't even know the basics, you can't tell me that I'm wrong about the logic, because everybody that I know, that I run this by people that are experts in logic, like literally master's level and higher, PhDs even, and none of them have a problem with this shit. So
to me, I don't know. To me, it's common sense, and maybe I'm wrong in thinking of it that way. But
well, you're just wrong in general.
Well, the issue you run into, and this is kind of one of the things that I point out in my videos, you've got two arguments that are coming in here, and it's actually the argument that when I first saw that this was Steve's shtick was when he was on the Atheist Edge channel. And what I saw there was an argument from philosophical academia versus an argument from standard colloquial etymology. And when I saw that conversation, I was just like, well, let me look at the academia real quick. Because I was in the lack of belief category of atheism always means this. Then I looked at the literature and went, okay, nope, I'm wrong. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that into the folder of things I fucked up on. And then when I met Jim in real life about a month later, we met at Faithless Forum and we had a conversation about Steve. And I was just like, well, the way that I think I can just resolve that is by saying I'm a colloquial atheist, because I am. And once you have the loose usage of the term, I fall in that category. But as soon as you get to the precise usage, I stop being in that category. And I think that's my way of resolving that. And then a month later, me and Steve hopped on Atheist Edge channel again. And this was one of the first times that not the first time I talked with Steve. The first time I talked with Steve was when I was at 60 subs. And I brought
1,000.
Well, I'm at 10,000. I'm at
10,000 now. He's at 10. I can't even get to 10,000 in this channel. I've had it 5 years. Fuck you.
Wow, that's crazy.
No, you know what? You've earned it though. I have no hate at all, man. You've definitely earned it. And Zach, we'll get you in a second here, so don't go away. But yeah, Chris, I mean, your channel, you do amazing artwork. Your videos are amazing. I mean, all the best. Man. I mean, yeah, I'm a little bit of envious. Don't get me wrong. And I'm probably gonna hunt you down one of these days and give you a noogie. But hey, so real quick, let's get Zach in here real quick because I'm not sure who he is. So hi, Zach.
Hi, how you doing?
Awesome. What do you got to add for us, man?
First of all, I have no idea what you're talking about. But,
I don't either. No, I really don't. We don't. No.
None of us do.
Yeah, we just make stuff up as we go along, and if it sounds good, that's all it is. Yeah.
The reason I entered was I would like to introduce myself how to use Zoom. But if I'm not wrong, the topic you're talking about is related to atheists.
Yes. Jim's here is the CEO of Atheist Republic. And Chris is a colloquial atheist, philosophical agnostic YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that club do?
What does atheists do? Oh, that's your territory, Jim. Go ahead.
Tell
us about your people, Jim.
We shake our fists at the sky.
So It depends. Are you referring to like the atheist movement, like in the colloquial usage, or are you referring to atheism just as a philosophical concept?
Okay, so I'm from Somalia and I am Muslim.
Okay.
So
So whenever most people say atheist, what they mean is somebody who rejects the claim that gods exist. It doesn't necessarily mean that they claim to know that gods don't exist, but that the people who claim to know that gods don't exist are what we call philosophical atheists. So the colloquial atheists cover agnostics and or most agnostics and atheists.
No, not quite.
Um,
No. That's not philosophical atheism. Philosophical atheism is the belief.
No,
that-
that's colloquial.
Yeah, colloquial is an umbrella.
I believe
Yeah.
I thought you said no. If you know
God
gods don't exist, that's philosophical
and
atheism.
that God created this world. So it is not possible that the people say iPhone was created by somebody, but the world nobody creates this world. And
That's just an argument from first cause. The first cause could be anything. The first cause could be polytheistic chaos. The first cause could be kinetic
fluctuations.
energy just going into entropy. The first cause could be any number of deities proposed or not proposed.
Or cannot have a cause.
You're just it could also not have a cause. Not all. I accept an argument from contingency myself. I have no issue with an argument from contingency.
How do you resolve that, Chris? I mean, there's three things. I've narrowed it down to three things for the argument of contingency. You can have an infinite regress. You can have
that's mine.
Going back to a contingency from which all other contingent things flow, or a metaphysical necessity. I don't see any other options.
I don't really see any options besides that either. I don't think that an infinite regress is illogical.
No, I don't either. But it's shocking to the mind, though. Right?
It's shocking to mind because
to have an infinite regress of that nature, though, would be very hard to wrap your head around.
Well, what's interesting is
though the other two.
most people who will argue that an infinite regress is a problem.
No, I don't think so.
No, I'm not saying most people will. I'm saying most people who will are a lot of your like lay Christians and lay Muslims who have a concept of eternity after life.
Oh, that makes sense.
So for some reason, infinity is not illogical going forward, but it is illogical going backwards.
Yeah, that's a good.
Well, but the only problem is that in many Abrahamic sects, Christianity in particular, an infinite regress goes against everything that we know about creation.
It can, but the thing is that every theological text. Also, we seem to have lost him.
You scared away the Muslim, Jim.
I didn't mean to. I was trying to be nice.
Yeah. My thing is, I've always resolved this just by saying, and this is the way that this is the beef that I have with people like young Earth creationists. Theological textbooks are not philosophy books. They contain philosophy. Theological books like the Quran, like the Bible, they are not scientific literature. They may contain some things that you can post hoc malform into what we understand about science.
It's not malforming. It's interpreting, divine interpretation.
Jim, I'm gonna see you in April. I will hit you with my hammer. I will.
I know. I can't wait. I'm excited.
I don't know anybody. I hear a lot of those things, and even I have to take umbrage to that. I'm like, wait a minute here. You're telling me that you have a special knowledge of this stuff that nobody else has, and yet you're reading it in some kind of context with some kind of empowerment from a deity that somebody else doesn't have, and yet you get so much shit wrong. I'm a little confused by this.
And you rarely see Christians approaching other Christians with this. I mean, unless it goes directly against their orthodoxy with it. But they are so quick to tell non-believers, oh, well, you have to, and it's different things too. They'll tell you it's essentially divine revelation of some sort. Some people will tell you it's guidance by the Holy Spirit.
Jim, how do you account for the laws of logic? How do you account for the laws of logic?
Oh,
you can't have any knowledge if you actually borrow from my worldview, Jim.
What's that?
Precepts or whatever.
Yeah, you have to borrow from my worldview.
Okay.
Yeah, no, presuppositionalism bothers the shit out of me because it's the same issue that I have with the first cause. I can presuppose any first cause and it works because all that's needed is that it fits the category of a first cause.
I presuppose that no God exists. How about that?
Yeah,
Yep.
I don't, whatever.
There you go. If you work off of that presupposition, then
As long as the person has a consistent framework, I don't give a shit what they do. I like rationality. Rationality is a big thing of mine. And I was on Dr. Jones's show last night, The Place, NGC Studio or NCG Studios, New Covenant Group, with Dr. Jones, Ozzy, and Stephen Hoyt. And the three of them had a wonderful discussion. And Stephen Hoyt pointed out something that was brilliant. He said, "You know what?" He's like, even though all three of us may have different things that we look at philosophy. He's like, from our own positions, we're all consistent. From my foundationalist point of view, I have consistency. From Ozzy's more of I think it takes more of a coherentist approach or a properly basic belief approach, foundationalism. He's consistent. Stephen Hoyt is consistent from his narrative, right? So there is no right or wrong answers for philosophy a lot of times. I mean, as long as you're consistent, I can say, hey, look, I think reality is internalized to the mind. You can say it's externalized to mind. There's no evidence one way or another. As long as I'm consistent in that framework, I got no arguments with it.
But Steve, if philosophy can't be right or wrong, then it's useless.
Yeah, it's just
Sorry, no, I've been dealing with this crap in my comment section ever since I started like focusing on the LHAC series in any capacity. So I'm just like, I love it. Every single time somebody says something like that, I'm just like, okay, how did you get the scientific method? Then please tell me.
Through philosophy. So somebody in the live chat thinks that words have intrinsic meaning. What? No, words do not have intrinsic meanings.
Demonstrate one word that has an intrinsic meaning. Thematic.
They're symbols. They're just symbols that we attach a cognitive meaning to, but they're not intrinsically meaningful.
They can have intrinsic usages. I will say that.
I don't even know about that.
Well, okay, hang on. I'll say that they have
intrinsic means something that is internal to the system itself, right?
Yeah. Well, but in a way they do, because I mean, especially in English, Greek and Latin based words and everything. I mean, we have the etymology of the word is something that is always taken into account. Well, it should be.
We have commonly accepted usages. I wouldn't necessarily say they're intrinsic because any value we apply to them is always outward towards the end.
Well, but I guess by intrinsic I mean base or original.
Yeah, well, I mean, origin. One of the things they usually use is gold. Like gold has an intrinsic value of how much it's worth, but it also has value to be used extrinsically, like for circuit boards, right? I mean, you could use it for value. It's valuable because of circuitry, because of its gold has very good conductivity properties. Well, but that has an extrinsic value to it.
It's also shiny.
In fact, it's gold. Being gold itself has an intrinsic value.
Well, that's an intrinsic usage, Steve.
Yes. Yeah, no, I'm okay with that. Yeah. But I don't know why you would think that words have intrinsic meaning. That makes no sense to me. I mean, agnosticism, I come up with three completely different things what agnosticism stands for. I can probably come up with a dozen different things that atheism stands for. No, it's all usage.
One of my favorite arguments is to go to either can or ain't. Tell me the one proper usage of the word can, and you'll find that it's polysemous and it has multiple. And find me the one common usage of ain't, and you'll be stuck somewhere between the 17th and the 19th century looking at the etymology of it.
Yeah.
So TextTrek says agnostic means without knowledge. That's automatically wrong, TextTrek.
No. Agnostic has one etymological state that is a gnosis without knowledge. It has one, but that is not what the original coinage of that term meant. Exactly. It has evolved to mean that, but that's not what the origin of the word was. The origin of the word was by Huxley, and it meant specifically the normative position. That is how he defined it. He didn't define it as a psychological state. He defined it as the normative position.
Strictly, it was a normative epistemic principle that he was coining. The normative epistemic principle was basically a form of early evidentialism. And so,
take something like taxonomy, for instance. Whenever the biologists are giving these organisms their names, often they use Latin, but when you're translating that word and looking at the base of the word, that fish's name doesn't mean literally red shoe, or whatever. I mean, it is used because it is something that is close to it. It's something that can be that can be polysemous whenever it's used in a different context.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, like I said, if somebody thinks agnosticism is just about knowledge of gods, they don't understand agnosticism. It's just simple as that. They've never read a paper on it. They never read a book.
Even the modern etymology of that word is specific to anything spiritual, not just gods.
You know what's funny is you're right. Originally, agnosticism being a normative epistemic principle eliminated supernaturalism in some ways.
Yeah,
it wasn't to accept
basically anything that we can't sense in the natural world.
Yes, anything. Now, actually, wouldn't affirm that, because if you affirm naturalism, then obviously you're a strong atheist. But what he would say is that we don't have a justification to accept something without empiricism, without observations, without evidence. That's why it's an early form of evidentialism. And I'm not totally against that approach, but I think people overuse it, right? I think that they don't understand there's other means to have knowledge and reasons to believe something that's not just based upon evidence.
I was so close,
for example.
I was so close when I was making that video to going on an entire tangent about justified true belief, and I just went, nope, stop. It's not the video.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Did you see us talking about that earlier?
I wasn't here when you guys were talking about that.
We had a good
discussion. Yeah, we already went through justified true belief. We hashed that out.
Yeah. So text check is just basically talking about his yin yang, and then.
No, that's
So the first question I asked somebody is, okay, tell me the difference between a normative epistemic principle, an epistemological proposition, and a psychological state of being agnostic on a proposition. If you can't tell me those three, don't come after me. And then I'll ask him, what's the last paper you read on this? And if you can't tell me what paper you read on it, don't bother with me. And I don't mean to be an ass about it. I really don't. People want to call me smug. Go ahead. I don't give a fuck anymore. I'll be a smug asshole. But I'm not going to waste my time with people telling me I'm wrong that don't even know the most fundamental basics of a topic. I'm not going to go to like Lawrence Krauss in the 26 and say, hey, dude, let me explain to you why your physics is wrong. Because I'm not at a level to do that.
Okay, to have
I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If you are willing and you tell somebody that they are wrong, you need to be prepared and willing to follow that up with a because.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And that's why when I call Matt out and people are like, Steve, you seem to have this vendetta against Matt. I'm like, no, I don't. Somebody has sent me the clip. Okay. I did not go searching this shit out. Right. Somebody sends me the clip and says, hey, what do you think about this? And I go, yeah, well, I disagree with them. I'll make a video about it. It could be, I've made comments on Cosmic Skeptic I disagreed with, Rationality Rules, even though I just talked to him yesterday. But we disagree on different things, but we respect each other. I think Rationality Rules is one of the greatest philosophical layperson's minds I've ever ran across. We don't have to agree on everything because it's philosophy. You're allowed to disagree on certain things. That's the whole point of philosophy.
Right. Oh, sir, are you going to Faithless Forum this year?
I'm one of the speakers at Faithless Forum this year.
Awesome. I'll be there.
What's your speech?
Awesome.
What are you going to talk about?
That I still haven't determined. Originally, I think it was going to be something along the lines of like getting started as an atheist YouTuber, but the other part of me is like, that's kind of boring because that's a 2-minute conversation. Make your first video. It's going to suck it up, get criticism, go on.
Yeah, I really wish I had the resources to go. I mean, I would definitely have gone if I had the resources, but at least somebody mentioned me for Faithless Forum. I support it. So,
I mean, what would be barring you from going? I know, obviously, like lack of transportation.
I don't have resources like that to really. I'm saving up. I'm going to Boston. I want to go visit the heathen. And I'd rather do that than there's a bunch of atheists. No offense.
Fair enough.
Yeah. You blame me, Jim?
No.
Okay.
I don't blame you at all. I mean,
if I'm going to spend money on a vacation, I'm going to Boston to visit, with a friend I want to go hang out with.
Well, luckily, Faithless Forum is happening. Faithless Forum is happening around the same time as the new Avengers film is coming out. So me and Pam are just like, well, we got a date night in Texas, apparently.
Nice. One of these days, I will go. Maybe not this one, but maybe the next one. I definitely want to meet you guys. There's no question about it. So.
Oh, I get to meet Kyle. Kyle will be there.
Yep.
He's going to try to seduce you, right?
Probably.
What's that?
No, well, he's taken. So he's not a cheater. So.
Yeah. I'm bringing my own roofie.
There you go. You're going to roofie yourself.
You're just going to sit there with a drink. Oh, it would sure be a shame if somebody drank the spiked drink in front of Kyle.
Oops.
Oopsie.
I'm so drunk.
Somebody better take me to their home. I mean, home.
Steve, if it's a matter of just saving up the transportation,
no, it's just I
the live chat is like straight up saying, just make it GoFundMe.
No, I do. GoFundMe's are for important things. Going to an
I agree.
event is not important things. I mean, people that lose their homes, people that need it for housing and stuff like that. That's I don't even push my own Patreon half, and I live off my Patreon. And there has been people that like 3 new ones in the last couple of days, and for a couple bucks, and I'm appreciative of it because I live off that. But I don't even push that much. I don't like the GoFundMe's unless there's a reason for it. And there's been some really good GoFundMe's, and of course I stand behind those. But there's been some I thought this is not really something that I think needs to be a GoFundMe. I mean, it's like I need a new wardrobe. GoFundMe. No.
But it's
be on
true.
the street.
Steve.
Here's a GoFundMe. Like Reg Rhetoric. He got in a car accident. I helped him with his GoFundMe. Dave, a producer, he had financial problems. I helped him out because I was finally.
That GoFundMe better be attached. That GoFundMe better be attached to a premium Snapchat account.
I mean, I'm not doing that great, but I had a little bit of extra, and I'm going to pay it forward. People have helped me out, and I'm going to pay it forward to them. That's how I think it should work.
Steve, you should definitely have a premium Snapchat and Instagram account.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You'd make all of like $3 extra.
Hey, dude, when you only live on a couple $100 a month, every little bit helps. People don't get that every dollar that I make off Patreon. I actually report that. I have to report that for my medical. Because if you make over a certain amount, I lose my medical and I can't have that. So they have to report my income, which is nominal. But if I did make over a certain amount, then I'd be kind of SOL. But luckily about that limit.
Luckily, I don't have. So luckily, I don't have to report Patreon until I make over $10,000 a year on it, and I'm nowhere near that. So
yeah, I don't have to report to Patreon, but I do to them. I want to be above board. It's not a big deal. I mean, I'm not penalized for it, so.
I do have to report YouTube revenue though. That
one I have to. Google has a 1099. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a 1099 miscellaneous, and you're just like, well, I'm getting taxed twice on this. This sure is which
sucks because then you can't do a 1040 easy any longer.
Yep. But you get that back though, right?
So yes and no. So the money that YouTube takes out when they send you your 1099 miscellaneous, you get some back. The problem is, though, you also have to file a self-employment tax at the same time. So any money that you would have gotten back because that's what happened to me this year. The money that would have come back from YouTube was also taken away because the self-employment tax basically doubles your tax.
Yeah. I had to pay a couple $100 in taxes last year, and I probably will again. Whatever. It's just, I'm not, dude, it's better to pay your taxes and be done with it. I'm not going to get in trouble with the IRS or the
you don't want to be another Ken Hovind?
No, I got screwed on my state taxes once, and man, they hounded me for years until they got their money. So yeah, they don't give up.
I wonder if you had a channel and if you just use the funds to go towards the channel, if you could register as a nonprofit.
Not for me. I don't want to be a nonprofit. I need a profit.
Well, I mean, yeah,
you could do that, though. Most people register their channels under like an LLC.
Okay.
And what you can do, there is one thing you are able to do. You are able to, like, if you have to get new equipment, you can write a lot of that off as expense. And anytime you're traveling, like when I travel to the Faithless Forum, because YouTube is my full-time job, when I travel to Faithless Forum, I'll be able to write off 53 cents per mile. Yeah, I'll be able to write off 53 cents per mile, and then a certain percentage on food.
And your gas.
So now that you're a big timer YouTuber and even bigger than I am after 6 years of doing this, can you put a shout out to me, man, or something, for God's sake? Give me like 5 more subs or something. I'd like to hit 10,000 before I die. Be nice. I mean, I already got it on the Non-Sequitur show, but I mean on this particular channel.
Yeah. I'll get something set up here in the next week. All my videos for next week are already produced. I already gave you the info on why that had to be the case.
Yeah, of course.
But we can probably set up a collaboration here at some point.
I don't want a fundraiser. We need a subraiser.
A subraiser.
We need all the YouTube atheists that I've helped over the years. And I mean, I remember when like Paul Gia was 100 subs. I remember when you had a couple 100 subs. I remember when Rachel Oates had a couple 100 subs. I mean, I go back.
I'm gonna be there soon.
And I'll maybe like they could like do me a solid and then do a subraiser for me. I hate asking.
Yes.
For fuck's sake, I've been doing this 6 years and I'm not even at 8,000 subs yet on this channel.
Seriously, it seems like you're really knowledgeable about YouTube. If you got a few minutes later, I'd really like to pick your brain for a little bit.
Sure.
Quality time with you.
That's fine. Here in about 40 minutes, I have a stream on my channel that I'm gonna have to get to. But after that, I'll have a few minutes available, and then I've got to do recording for another project that I have to do. So
Perfect.
After that, if you're able to watch that stream as soon as that stream is over, then we can chat for a little bit, and then I absolutely have to get down onto the other work I have to do because bills are a thing.
Sure, man. I absolutely understand. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
So this guy in the live chat, by the way, somebody mentioned something about one electron hypothesis. Is that when you have like instantiations of one universal electron, and each electron is just an instantiation of that one universal? If it is, then I might be familiar with it, but I'm digging here deep.
That sounds correct, but it's also not in my wheelhouse, so I don't want to affirm or deny.
I read a lot of the stuff. It's been a long time, but I recollect something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Rachel Oates is. I gotta admit, she is adorable. She is very adorable, yeah, and sweet, and her personality matches, and that's really nice.
I don't think I met her.
Oh, she's sweet, really cute, really bubbly, very adorable, intelligent, articulate.
She does.
I knew she was going to be a superstar.
Intelligence, good.
She does the Here and How podcast with Thomas Westbrook and Rationality Rules as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're telling me that's how they answer that theory too. Yeah, then I have heard of it before. And yeah, but so this guy that's in the live chat that thinks that like atheism, it's just not believing. That's fine for you, dude. That's YouTube atheism. That's not how it is in philosophy. That's not how it is in the literature. You don't have to accept that. You don't have to like be a philosophical atheist, but you cannot say that in philosophy that's not how it is. That's a material fact. No. That's something you'd be wrong if you said that.
If you want to say that that's just what the term means now, go ahead. I actually have the entire fucking history of that word on Wednesday's video, starting from the Romans, leading into the Greeks, leading into the French version of the word, which is how you're actually using it. So yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine with you using that. Just don't say the literature says that you're right.
And that's because that's what a material fact means. A material fact means it doesn't really care about your opinion. And in the literature, as best understood in philosophy, atheism is the belief that there are no gods. There's not even a debate to be had on that. I mean, it's just, I can't even really spend much time on that because it's just wrong for somebody to say otherwise. It's not even a matter of is it debatable. You can read the literature and see for yourself. I mean, Stanford
is theory debatable inside the scientific community. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's like saying, hey, in science, theory means guess. Well, no, in science, that's not what a theory means. But that's what I'm hearing.
I can tell
YouTube atheists. They literally sound just like that.
I can tell just by listening to you, sir, is talking about the history and how we're currently using the French colloquial acceptance. It's I can tell that you've definitely done your due research on that. So I preemptively want to thank you for doing some honest research.
He does do research, and then like I said, he was nice enough to let me review the video before he puts it on Wednesday, and I got my stamp of approval. So.
Well, that doesn't mean much to me, but okay.
It's true.
It doesn't mean much to me either. But Steve's a friend.
But the difference is if I don't get you my stamp for approval, I'm going to rip you to shreds on it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what when I went in. I'm just like, hey, who's the just like there's a friend of mine. I have a few friends of mine who are in the LGBTQ community and suffer from various forms of gender dysphoria, and that's what my Friday video is on. So I ended up sending it to them, and I said, hey, does this match what you experience? Because if it doesn't, I need to go back and do this again.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's I got nothing wrong with that. I just wish I had the talent you have, because again, I would like to be able to explain these things in video form. And I've tried so before, and they're not terrible, but they just don't get much views. Not like my live discussions do.
So like what I do for my videos is I build a template. Now, granted, the template takes a couple hours to build, but it saves you hours down the road. Mm-hmm. I build a template, and I make sure that template is set up so where it has my end credits, it has my box where a video goes into if I'm doing a video response. It has because you notice my avatar is animated. He blinks, he looks at the video, he looks at the audience. All of that is in the template. All I have to do is move a few things around to make them do what I want to do. And I have 3 templates for the 3 different avatars that I use. So about 10 hours of work building those 3 templates so that I don't have to do an extra 2 or 3 hours of work every single time.
But you still got to record it. You need to script it. You need to record it.
I don't script any of my videos, Steve.
Okay, we keep okay. Even if you don't script it, you still got to talk.
Yes, but like even that video that you watched on atheism, as organized as it is, I didn't script a single word in it.
Yeah, I don't normally script either. I like to go freestyle.
Is is it something organic? Like you just like kind of create a presentation, and then as you're going through the presentation, you're just talking over it?
No, what I do is I figure out what I want to talk about, and sometimes I'll do bullet points if it's something that I think needs to be super organized.
Right.
But I've gotten to the point where I can stop hopping onto tangents, which used to be one of the worst things that I would do. But
It's hard
once I
not
was
to
able
sometimes.
it's still a thing I have to deal with, but I'm better about it now.
What I like to do is, I mean, I want to do my blogs because I can write stuff easier, I think. And then have someone like you, if you want to make a video about it for your channel, if you need ideas, then right. I'd rather have somebody do the video and then run it by me and go, is this what you mean by this, Steve? Because I'll be like, yeah, okay, so I can write the stuff for it. I can show you the logic. I can show you the basics of it. And like my blog, somebody just read my blog. Who was it a little while ago said that my blog was made sense. It was really good. So if people can understand and you can read my blog, go, yeah, you know what, I can make this into a video form.
Well, see, luckily, since you already have the blog, all you would have to do. So there's a rule whenever you're making videos for YouTube, really anything that's in this realm, you do your audio first, and then you build your video around your audio. So take your blog, record the entire thing. And if it ends up being like over 20 minutes, so what? If people want to listen to it, they're going to listen to it. If they don't want to listen to it, they were going to click away anyway.
Yeah.
Record the entire thing,
Sure.
Get your audio, do your post-production of the audio. I can show you. I have a video on my channel that's hidden that I can send to people whenever they ask, how do you do post-production? Post-produce your audio so that it sounds nice. And then after you've post-produced it, throw it into your editor and just listen to the video and then go, does this need a visual reference? Throw that in there. Does it not need a visual reference? What else can I do?
All of it would need video references because I use truth tables and I use, basic.
Well, it's the same thing like when I did my atheist versus agnostic video. You see like every single article out of the SCP fly on the screen, just like, here's a thing for you to look at. But when you do that, are you using a Windows machine or are you using
I will use Windows when I do.
Okay. There's a program called Lightshot that you need to get. Lightshot basically lets a Windows computer do what a Mac computer does normally, where when you hit print screen, you can select an area of your screen and that will be what it grabs.
Yeah, I have screenshot. Same thing.
Yeah, I've got what they call a snipper.
Snipper's great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
Snipper's great.
Any of those will work. So what you'll do is you'll use that for grabbing your visual references because it saves a lot of time.
Yeah, I do use that.
Use that for your visual references and then figure out how you want them to pop in. Because if they just pop on screen, it's jarring to the eyes. So like have them fade on screen or push on screen. Transitions are easy. You just toss it in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know all that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't think, do you ever watch it in my old biological videos?
I've seen some of the older ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's low quality, but they were informative. I mean, so it's more about the information.
Mm.
I got Hit Film Express on
That's
a
what I
good,
use.
right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
what I
good?
use.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. I'm still trying to learn it, but I'm trying to find something that I can use for visual effects, like some better effects where I can do my own intro and stuff like that.
Well, you can do compositing on there, and a Blender you can make effects too. But Chris recommended Hit Film to me, and I recommended it to Jim. I think
I love Hit Film.
The
Yeah,
best
it's
thing you can do for hit film or for intro, I'll be perfectly honest, the best time saver I ever found was going on to like making my logo and then going on to Fiverr, submitting my logo on there, and then having like just paying somebody $5 for them to send me 10 different animated intros with that logo and me just picking the ones I liked.
Seriously?
Yeah, you pay $5. Like you can go on there right now, just go into Fiverr and look up intro. And there are people,
Fiverr?
Yeah, Fiverr, Fiverr. And there are people who for $5 will send you 5 to 10 animated intros with whatever logo you sent in, and they'll send it within 24 hours.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that pretty cool? I don't know how they make it so quickly. I've tried doing stuff in Blender, and I don't.
Hashtag not sponsored.
I can't do
Dude,
that.
you know
stuff
those
that
guys
fast.
fucking bank. You know they bank because
That's
like
cheap as
you know
shit, though.
like they probably invested in a $300 or $400 software, and they're probably just cranking out 20 or 30 of these a day.
Yeah, well, like Kyle makes it look so easy because he has high-end software. So, but Blender is very, very, very powerful, but it's not easy to work with. But it's free.
Blender.
Blender's a
seen
3D modeling program. 3D modeling, 3D
shit.
animation.
Yeah, you haven't seen Blender? It's
Like,
really, really
they have,
awesome.
Like templates and stuff, or is it like just like
It's a full-on three-dimensional. You can
Like
create
you'll build skeletons for things and then map them on and then be able to animate them that way.
Yeah, I can literally make CGI using Blender. Like I'll show you some things I did if you want. shoot.
You showed me the dumpster fire, but you made that with hit film, though,
That was
right?
with hit film. No, I'll show you the blender work
Okay.
I used to do. Let me. I just got to go into my account here. And so while we're doing that, yeah. So again, I want to get a narrative out there, please. Everybody watching, anybody who ever watches this, if you hear somebody say atheism and theism or dichotomy, tell them they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Seriously, and they want to come after me, and they want to come talk to me, and they want to like show me their evidence. Be my guest. Good luck with that, because I will definitely show them that they're completely and utterly wrong, as far as the literature. So because I'm so tired of people on the channel saying you can only be one of the other.
But you need to be willing to accept the possibility that somebody somewhere at some time is going to present you with literature to prove you wrong. You have to accept the possibility.
I could accept the possibility of farting rainbows and burping gold coins, but I don't see it in any time.
I accept the
as long as you
possibility.
acknowledge it.
I accept the possibility that tomorrow the entire theory of evolution might be overthrown by something, and I'm just like, it doesn't change my day.
Good luck with that. Yeah.
I have had a strong hunch all day.
Okay, let me show you. You guys want these have no audio, so it doesn't really matter. But you want to see some of the things I made in Blender? You might be impressed. Now I will tell you this. I got these from tutorials, so it's not like I created these myself. Okay, but let me screen share.
I mean, even with the tutorial, you still ended up doing the whole.
Oh yeah, no, I did all the work. Yeah, that took hours.
Like when Godless Cranium wanted the Star Wars animated intro for one of his videos, I had to look up a tutorial for it, but I still did the whole thing and built it. And then, of course, I got lambasted by Apologia afterwards, which was great.
Yeah,
you did it on Blender?
No, that was on Hit Film. I was able to animate the whole thing on Hit Film.
All right, this is Blender here.
Oh,
so
wow.
here you go. Ready? Check this out, Jim. You can see that?
Yeah.
I did this in Blender. So watch.
That looks highly sexual.
This is my daughter's name coming out here. Don't go all creepy on me. I did that for my daughter.
Oh, baby. Oh.
Is it pretty cool?
Well, that's yeah.
And that took several hours to do. Trust me, it's not as easy as it appears, but it was fun. And then I have this one. Check this one out. This one I had a problem with. You can tell that it probably need to be re-rendered. But what do you think of this one? I think this is all CGI. This is literally all computer graphics.
All I see is Sam Harris and Simon Cowell. Okay, there we go. Oh wow.
This was
cool.
literally
Like
that whole thing is all CGI, even the pipe. Made.
Wow. That's really cool. Oh, it was like maybe like gallium or something like that.
Yeah, it's not like but the water didn't do it right. I had to rebake it, and I'll show you one other one that I did. 1 sec.
It's not fluid enough.
Yeah, I got to change some of the fluid dynamics of it. Let me see here.
That's really cool, though. I mean,
but if you want me to be able to do computer graphics, that's Blender's the way to go. Yeah,
I was just gonna say. I just want something user friendly. That's all I'm worried about.
It is not user friendly.
Yeah, Blender is not a user friendly program. Blender's a program that takes some time and some love and patience.
As far as the intros go, though, Hit Film's good.
Yeah, Hit Film's good.
You can do them in Hit Film, or like I said, just submit one to a Fiverr guy and have them just build it real quick for you.
Are there any necessary add-ons that you would recommend?
I use Hit Film in its vanilla state. When I build videos, I use Audacity, Hit Film, and Photoshop. So any images that I need to put in, there's one warning I'll give you with Hit Film. It's the same warning I gave Steve. If you want to have text on Hit Film, you want to do anything with text, using Hit Film's text editor is an absolute nightmare. It is a pain in the ass. It is going to be so much faster to just write out what you want to put in text form on Photoshop or GIMP.
Yep.
And then just save that as a file and throw it into Hit Film.
PNG.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just put it into PNG. Like it sounds like it's a pain in the ass, but
no joke.
Compared to doing it on Hit Film.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about Hit Film. Hit Film's texting. I mean, maybe if you get the add-on, but the stock I hate the text.
The stock text editor is horrible. So anytime that I've done a video that has bullet points, I'm just like, the bullet points look nice, but that's because I didn't do them in Hit Film.
Yeah, that's how I've been considering just doing it in this. I have GIMP. So here real quick. Somebody see. Rayleigh says, I thought you say in a recent video that non-cogs means it's not a dichotomy since they don't believe or disbelieve in the proposition. No, theist and not theist is a dichotomy. but the non-cog really doesn't fall into either, but for epistemic reasons, right?
I have a video on non-cogs as well.
I mean, you have to shoe them. You really have to shoehorn non-cog into a non-theist position, but then you're nullifying their actual position. So you have to realize that classical logic sucks for the certain things, and that's why you don't use classical logic. Use Gnostic logic or something, because you don't want to shoehorn theological non-cognitivists in this dichotomy, because you lose the nuance of the position.
Yeah, and even if I think the position's kind of silly, but that's just
me.
I'm
not a big fan of it either. And I used to be a theological non-cognitivist too, and then I thought about it for a while and I was like, yeah, I can't support this.
Just like, what's your position? Well, I have you can't have a position.
Yeah, and well, non-cognitivists, you can't even get so far to say, well, I don't even believe in God. That's a nonsensical statement to non-cog.
Yeah, because you can't.
The only position they have in that scenario is been over a barrel.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand the reasoning. I mean, a non-cognitive position makes sense morality-wise if you want to be a moral non-cog, but it doesn't theologically to me.
I mean, no, because to me, moral non-cog is the same thing as somebody saying that they're a solipsist. I just think that they are disingenuous and intellectually dishonest because they're
a moral non-cog.
Yeah.
Why? A moral non-cog would be like an emotivist that just says, well, stealing is wrong is not a proposition. It just means boo on stealing. Or a prescriptivist would say stealing is wrong just basically means don't steal. It's a directive. That's all.
Right.
It's a non-cog. You don't have to think of it as a proposition.
Like even a non-cog can make an appeal to consequentialism as a moral framework.
Yeah, because you're talking about meta-ethical position. Just because you're a meta-ethical position is one thing doesn't mean your normative position is something else. I mean, I could be a non-cognitivist as far as my meta-ethics, but still tell you what's right or wrong for normativity. Big difference. Because the meta-ethical position is your evaluation of propositions, whether they're actual propositions or not. But you say, hey, you know what? You know, is it wrong to do something like that?
Yes, I think that is the philosophical equivalent of the flying spaghetti monster.
Okay,
that's just like your opinion, dude.
That's like.
Sorry, I had to.
That is one religion I can get behind.
So is live chat caught up and everything? Because again, I really want to have a push in this. I know I'm kind of spearheading a lot of this stuff, but I'm not the only one any longer. A lot of people are taking notice, and I don't have time to field every little basal complaint that people come to me with. If you want to have an intellectual conversation about it, great. I'm more than welcome to come in and talk to me. But these little pot shots people do from their keyboard, Steve, it's only atheism or theism, you dumbass. Okay, you're done. I mean, I'm just going to ignore you or block you at this point. I'm just giving people fair warning. I don't have the time for it. I don't have the patience, and I don't care. If you want to argue like a creationist, go talk to a creationist. You're at that same level.
It's obstinate and it's hypocritical because you call people out for the same shit.
Yeah, I do, and people call me out when I'm wrong, and I'm okay, whatever, it's cool.
Not you.
Them.
Making these baseless claims.
Yes. Oh, it's strictly tribalism, because I even said, look, if I had called out G-Man for making some kind of stupid thing, nobody would bat an eye about it. Nobody would bat an eye.
That's because they already understand that G-Man is stupid ahead of time.
But who cares who said something? If you're making an argument that's a bad argument, then it needs to be addressed. And again, you may even have to accept the argument. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad argument. Like I said, when I was talking to Ozzy and Hoyt the other day, we ended up all kind of agreeing with minor variation because we're different people, but none of us were right or wrong. It's just how our perspective was. And I like that, it's just perspective. It's just if you want to think that aliens exist, I can't tell you whether you're right or wrong on it, right? That's your perspective. But I want to know why your reasoning is for it. If you say that I believe in aliens because, last night they came and probed me, I'm going to have questions.
They only probed you because you wanted to have a good time. That's all.
But most fun I've had in ages, but whatever. They didn't even buy me a drink first, though.
They were too busy using that as the lubricant.
Yeah. Well, I kept on saying that's not what you do with the alcohol, but whatever. They don't listen. Alien. Trying to translate English into alien. Yeah, it doesn't work.
They understand that the alcohol was absorbed faster that way anyway.
I usually stand out in the Arizona desert and just say, "Here I am." Take me.
Butt sex is the universal language, though. I think everybody understands butt probes, both aliens and humans.
What is that reasoning? Is that a biological thing?
Like even though you can't hear them talking amongst each other and they can't hear what you're screaming, everybody knows that they're sticking something in your butt.
Yeah, always. But like I said, like, at least like buy your dinner or movie first or something.
And depending on how much it hurts, you know whether they like you or don't like you.
Yeah, or what they like.
I just want to be held. That's all. I don't care what they do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think aliens have evolved beyond the need for cuddling.
Yeah.
Aliens evolved past the need for aftercare.
Boy, this hangout took a turn.
In the technological future, sex is only used for experimentation and procreation.
So is it just a coincidence that as soon as Mrs. Snarky and Sweet Heathen show up, we start talking about butt sex? Is that just totally like coincidental?
No, because that is definitely not what I would be doing.
But considering that Mrs. Snarky is the wife of the Lord of Butt Stuff, no, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
The Lord of Butt Stuff.
Yeah, God's Island. He's like the Lord of
Butt Stuff.
There's nothing about butt stuff he doesn't know. Yeah, he's like well versed in butt stuff.
He even has a shirt that's just called Logic and Butt Stuff.
He wears the royal pink sock, so to speak.
So Dave has a super chat. Forgot to wish you a happy birthday. Thank you, Dave, and I hope you're doing well. Appreciate it. Yeah, I had a pretty good birthday actually. I slept. I really just said screw it. I turned off all the computers and internet and just slept.
I mean,
I spent too much time responding to people on the internet. I really did.
Responded to me when I said happy birthday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who wish me happy birthday I couldn't get to. There's just hundreds and hundreds of people. And I can't like thank every one of them, but I do appreciate it. But I have a lot of people messaging me at all hours, and I can't keep up. I can't. I want to, I really do, but Jesus, man, between Twitter and Facebook and instant messages on G+ and email.
Yeah, I just don't try to keep up. I've just come to the conclusion that if I'm completely like I have nothing to do and you send me a message, I might respond. But if I am in the middle of doing stuff, then the only people that I respond to are the people that I care about. And I've got a list of those. Yeah,
no, I have certain people that if they message me, they're going to get priority. I'm like, I have no choice. And there's nothing against, other people. I have people that I don't know idea who the hell they are. And they send me like 5 paragraphs of stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to read all this. If you want,
Steve McRae, here is my dissertation on anal probing.
Yeah, send me like a paragraph, like a couple sentences, and I'll be happy to get back to you as much as possible. But some people send me like a god awful amount of shit to read that they've written. And I'm like, how am I going to get through all this? It's just not feasible. And usually it's pretty boring. I mean, I had one gentleman, he actually wrote something decent, I guess, as far as like trying to explain atheism and theism. But I found his problem like right off the bat. I was like, okay, well, it's well written, but here's your error. And so
was it a confusion between epistemology and ontology?
He had done that.
That's pretty normal.
I told him that. Yeah, I actually even told him that. He confused the ontological states of being and not being with the
epistemological proposition.
Believing on it, right? Yeah, exactly. And so
that's normal. That's pretty normal.
Yeah. And I think that's ubiquitous. A lot of people, they're like, oh, well, it can only be one way or the other. God exists or he doesn't. Okay, what the hell's that got to do with my belief of that?
You're just like, yeah, that's the ontology, but that's not the proposition. The proposition of whether God exists or not has nothing to do with whether he ontologically exists or not. That's where you're wrong, Matt Slick.
Yeah, and that's why I want to get atheists more, to adopt. If they really do believe there's no gods, I want them to adopt that. I don't want them to hide behind, I just don't have a belief. No, you have. Right. I hate that when they say, well, gods are made up. There's no such thing as supernatural, but I just lack a belief. I'm like, you're dishonest. You are dishonest at that point.
Usually that's because they don't know there's a difference between global atheism and local atheism. That's usually where that comes in.
I think that I think there's a certain point when they've been explained. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not being dishonest right off the bat. But after it's been explained to them countless times, then I think they're dishonest. I'm sorry.
But even global atheism doesn't entail possibles.
What do you mean? Of course it does.
Global atheism specifically covers.
What do you mean though? I mean, let me see what you mean by that. A global atheist will say that it's possible. You could be a global atheist.
a local God is the contextual God you are familiar with, as well as all the other concepts that you've been presented with, the ones that you're familiar with.
Even if you're not
global
presented with
is-
them.
And
Even
well,
if you're
that's
not-
global.
Well, no, even if you're not presented, a local atheist can still say all gods that have been conceived by man, and that still falls under local.
Oh, really? I thought that was global. I
No,
thought
no,
local
global is all
presented with.
possible.
Right.
All possible deities, explained or not, conceived or not, that is global, and that's
Or
why
not.
or not. Yeah, if it hasn't been conceived, but it's possible in any way, shape, or form, it still falls on. And even then, it's weird because whether something's possible or not depends on your theory, truth theory.
Well, that just means logic, if it's
Right.
logically possible.
Yeah. You still.
But if somebody says, like, look at every God that's been told to me, I don't believe, you're just agnostic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's no difference.
There's a reason why in the I actually have an article from SCP that I link, not just link in there, but I also have in my presentation when I do my thing on local versus global atheism. It even says in there that global atheism is one of the hardest positions to justify because it includes everything, conceptualized or not.
Yeah.
I know
And by the way,
exactly which paper you're talking
I
about.
suppose I have a radio program I'm supposed to do today. I have out of my notes says radio. I don't know what I meant by that. So if you're out there and I'm supposed to do a show with you today, I don't remember.
Jesse
Who is it?
Lee Peterson.
No, that's tonight.
That's an
That's not a
on
secular show. I'm supposed to do a radio podcast for somebody, and I don't remember who it was.
Was it with Family Radio?
I don't remember. I just have radio on it. That's all I put in my notes.
Hey,
I'm gonna go ahead and hop out of here so I can get ready for my show in about 15 minutes. Just reminded me of that.
All right.
Sounds good, man. I'm gonna cruise over and check it out.
Yeah.
All right,
And
I'll see you in a bit, Jim.
who's Chrissy, by the way? Hi,
Alrighty.
Chrissy. Got something to add to us, Chrissy?
Chrissy Kuchansky.
Kachansky.
hey, by the way, Steve, I'm not going to be able to watch the nonsense. I'm not watching that.
No.
cringe fest.
You're not
It's
going
be
to
a
watch
cringe
Finland.
fest.
No, I don't blame you, but you know what, Jay? You will watch and you will like it.
No, man.
Jay, you've been hiding, waiting on Sirius to leave.
You said what? You said what?
You've been hiding, waiting on Sirius to leave.
No,
No.
talking about watching Just Leave
Y'all was
Podcast.
just talking. I was busy doing stuff
Okay.
in the background.
No, I don't blame you. Don't get me wrong. If people don't want to watch them tonight, I understand. I really do. I don't even know how I'm going to be able to sit through it. I don't even know how Kyle's going to be able to sit through it. I mean, some of the shit he says, I mean, I used to think, I only watched a few of his things and I was like, he seems to be an okay interviewer. Then I watched this shit that he talked about on race and I was like, holy God almighty. Yeah, he's just a piece of work. How can somebody be that racist and not, I mean, it's just bizarre.
Man, look, it was just ridiculous. It really started off. I don't know if you guys have heard of Amber Rose, but with the slut walk, it started with that. And
Yeah, I
really,
yeah.
I really think that what's going on with him, I think he's really just pushing it. I don't know how serious he is. Let me put it that way. And I guess we'll find out tonight.
Then what's the point?
I guess to get views,
I don't know. I think he's not that bright. I think he doesn't really. I don't think.
Yeah. I get
By the way,
the
she's
same
married to
thing
Wiz
too.
Khalifa, isn't she?
Yeah,
Who?
she was married. She was married.
She
to
was
him
married
at
to Wiz
one
Khalifa,
point,
okay.
and then
Yeah.
then they got they
Then she got with
divorced.
Keen. What's his name? West. That dude.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say I don't
Kanye.
think I don't think Wiz is married.
No, I think they were at one time.
Yeah. They had a kid together though, for sure.
Yeah.
And everything. But anyway, so yeah, that's cringeworthy. I was like,
Yeah, no, I don't
and
blame
then the
that.
ones with Destiny and Hassan Piker.
But you know
Those
what?
two.
Some people are going to watch, and like I said, we'll take it in stride. I'm trying to be mellow. I'm not going to try to
Hey, I gotta pray for you guys tonight. No, I'm just
do that, man.
Nah,
Yeah,
seriously,
we
no,
need
but-
it, man.
Nah,
We need it.
but yeah, man, like for real, it's gonna be something. Might be a dumpster fire.
Oh, it's gonna be a dumpster fire for sure. It just depends on how hot is it, how close can you stand.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be acting. I really don't know.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
I think it's genuine, but I think it is genuinely acting on some sort of a mental incapacity or something is wrong.
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, I believe people should have a platform, but there's a certain, respect we have, where you just don't be like that. I don't see why people want to listen to that crap.
The reason why is I think a lot of the things that he does is just like, he said some things that made sense to me before, which I can't recall at the moment, but it's just mostly like, it's just unbelievable to me. I don't know. It's just unbelievable. I can't.
Well,
I can't
we'll see how it goes tonight, man. And I'll tell you what, it's better to wait till it's over, and then somebody says, "Hey, you got to watch it, and at least watch this part," and you go back and kind of watch it on your own time.
I'll probably check out a little bit of it.
Yeah,
and we'll see. Early on, it's going to be all butterflies, but then later on, it's going to hash out. All
right. So, anyways, like I said, I don't know if I got something planned. So if somebody's going to message me here soon, then I got another appointment. I don't know, but I'm going to be ending this. I know Jim's got to go do some other things too. He's got alpacas to go take care of or something.
No, I've got other computer
cute alpacas. Stuff. You have the cutest alpacas.
Thanks.
You're adorable.
I've got all my animals are cute.
Yeah, I want an alpaca. So, live chat. You got anything for me? Like I said, I'm going to be doing another blog entry on probably Disbelief next time, but go check out the one I did last night. If there's any errors, I'll be happy to correct them. One person made a little minor correction, and I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'll change that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be pushing this narrative that atheism and theism are not a dichotomy. We need to get atheists out there on board with that, because I think it's just, it makes them look foolish and it makes them look ignorant when they say stupid shit like that. If you want to believe that and you want to have your own stipulative definitions, you want to use colloquial definitions, I don't care. But you cannot say in philosophy that's how it is, because it's not, and it's not. And I can show you with logic, and I have. So
yes, and there is a difference. There is a noticeable difference, and I realize that a lot of people don't know that. But my whole thing is that even though you're an atheist, I think that a lot of people think that because they discovered one thing to be false and escaped a false belief, that they've escaped all false beliefs. But I think it's important not to operate under that false presumption, and you should approach everything with skepticism. Everything.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I'm not big on skepticism, but I know what you mean by it, by ordinary doubt. Sure, then I'm agreeing with you. Sure. But I think what happens is that they don't have their own personal explicit knowledge to draw from, and so they're just relying on other people. And the bigger the name out there, they're going to draw on that and say, oh, well, such and such said this, therefore that's how it must be. And they don't bother to actually go look into themselves. And that's when I throw the charge of tribalism and just groupthink. People cannot say that I follow groupthink. I mean, they can say what they want about me, but I definitely don't have groupthink, and I can back my shit up. In fact, that's why people have getting pissed at me, because they know I can back my shit up. I've done extensive readings on these things, and so I know where to find what. And I want somebody to debate me on it, only because I want to get that information out there. So if you think you can, I'm game, man. I'm game. So I want Sweet Heathen to debate me. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
She says I fell into that trap to a degree when I had my epiphany. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's a trap, and it's a sense of false security. Like you're like, oh man, finally, like, whew, it's a good thing that that I don't have any false beliefs anymore, because that would suck, you know.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm only going to limb and say, look, I don't think we can ever not have some beliefs that are false, and maybe one can justify even having a necessity every so often to have false beliefs. I don't think it's feasible to have completely all beliefs that are true. I just don't know if that's even as humans something we even strive for. But I think on most things, then yes, we want to believe as many things that are true as possible and disbelieve the things that aren't true. I don't have a problem with that. But there are certain rare instances where it could be beneficial to have a false belief. I mean, we study that in biology kind of thing. The person that runs away from a noise in the bush is going to live to fight another day, and the next time it's a tiger, right? So you can't. It's none of this stuff's black and white. And I'll leave you guys with this: if you're a black and white thinker, the great debate community and atheism and theism and all that stuff is probably not for you. These are nuanced things. They require a little bit of finesse. They require a little bit of reading. It's not cut or dry. It's not black or white. And I think that the people that want to educate people and explain to people these things, they're not black and white thinkers. And I think any lazy person can be a black and white thinker. And it doesn't take much to parrot somebody else. Try come up with your own stuff. I mean, even if you're wrong, I'd rather listen to somebody have a unique argument and go, okay, let me ponder this, than then all they're doing is parroting what they've heard. Because I hear one more person tell me, Steve, Gnosticism deals with knowledge. Like, I've never heard that 5,000 times before. Like, that's an argument.
See, to me, there is a difference between succumbing to scholarship and succumbing to conspiracy.
Yes.
Or actually, I wouldn't say conspiracy. I'd say propaganda. But what I will say is that it is important to approach everything as if it is propaganda. Approach everything as if it is misinformation. Like, verify everything. I mean, I can't think of any other passion that people have enough that they're outspoken about that they don't do copious amounts of research on. I mean,
Then why don't they on atheism then? Why do they just blindly follow?
Exactly. There's a cult of atheism and there's a cult of theism where they both believe that they hold a monopoly on the truth, and that nothing that they nor their talking heads can say is automatically devoid of all wrongness automatically by default.
Yeah, and I think that's like you said it best, and I'll leave it with that. When Jim was saying that people that have dogmatic thinking, when they leave theism, a lot of them just become dogmatic atheism, and they don't critically think to themselves, and that lowers it for everybody. We are looking to raise the bar. I know Jim very much wants to raise the bar. I've had numerous conversations with him, and we want to see atheists get better at these arguments. We want to see atheists understand the terminology. We want to see atheists take a stand. And what good is an atheist that's going, I don't believe in you? Who cares? We don't give a crap what you do or don't believe. I want to know why you believe something or you don't believe it, but I want to know some reasons. Right. Give me an argument, for God's sake.
Bring something to the table.
Right.
Yeah, bring something to the table. If you care about the atheist community and you have nothing to contribute, then shut the fuck up.
I mean, it's fine if they want to try. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go that far.
No. If you want to try, that's fine. But part of trying is entering into it, knowing that you're low man on the left pool. Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Because going in to try insinuates that you're not really sure what the hell you're doing, but you're willing to find out.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Yeah, but there's a big difference between that. If a person comes in and starts going off me and telling me that I'm an idiot and I'm wrong, they're not going to get very far, right? Because I can guarantee it, not a single person that's knowledgeable of these stuff has ever said those things about me. So there's a reason for that. And so if you want to get involved in these conversations and you don't know much about it, I welcome you. I mean, I want them to come in, but don't come across as authoritative. Don't come across as this is the way it is because I've heard it on some video. That's not going to fly.
Can I add one thing? Before you get on, I just want to say, also, if you guys are watching any videos, this goes for everybody, Christians and non-believers alike. If you're watching these videos, please think for yourself. Do the research. Always do that, because you will get caught up in what Jim and Steve is talking about right now, and you'll get up trying to parrot what people are saying, and you don't even understand the full where it even where their thoughts come from. You know what I'm saying? So please think for yourself, even when you're watching these videos.
Well, I have somebody in the live chat that leaves messages that tells me I have a category error, and I'm like, I don't think they understand what a category error means. And all I'm doing is basing upon the fact that if you say that an atheist is a non-theist and rocks are atheist, that's not a category error. That's a logical deduction from a deductive argument using logic. The category error is accepting the premises, which I don't. I think premise 4 in my argument for that is wrong. It's not an argument that I believe, because I think it's a unsound argument. But there are atheists out there that think it's a logically valid, which it is, but they also think it's a sound argument. I'm not one of those. So go bitch to the atheists who think that rocks are atheist, because they accept all the premises, which is very simple. A or not A, theist or not theist, rocks are not theist, rocks are atheist, rocks are non-theist, therefore rocks are atheist. No, I'm sorry. A or not A, theist or not theist, rocks are not theist equals atheism, so therefore rocks are atheism or atheist. That's a very simple.
We've already been through this.
Yeah, there's a very, very simple logical deduction. It's just, you can't get away from that. You have to show that it's not sound, and the only way to do that is to deny premise 4, which is that atheism equals non-theist, because that's a wrong position to take, I think, in philosophy. That's what the atheists go put out there. Oh, atheism and non-theism are synonymous. No, sorry, Arn's wrong on it. I'm sorry, Ron. I love you, Arn, but you're just not correct on that one. Sorry.
Every single time that we go through this, you know, we go through deduction, we chip away at it, and we find out what it isn't, and in the end, you only find out what it is, and we find out that rocks are Roman Catholics, right? See?
Exactly. Oh yeah, and he thinks there's no atheist out there that promotes that rocks are atheists. I get it all the time. Bionic Dance has been for years promoting rocks are atheists because.
Well, actually, I don't know. After talking to people like Joshua and Max Colby and everything, I'm starting to think that maybe. Well, I don't know. Jonathan's a good guy, but maybe Anglicans are rocks. Maybe rocks are Anglicans.
Yeah.
Wait. Yeah. So rocks can be Anglicans, but not all Anglicans are rocks.
Is
so that works. Okay.
Yeah,
that works.
Yeah, and children are not agnostic; they're innocent. Yeah, Grandma Oppie would say that if you haven't even heard of the proposition or able to evaluate the proposition, you're innocent on the proposition. You have no burden of justification.
Rocks are innocent.
Yeah. No, rocks are they're just like amoral. They don't have morals, right? They fall under non-theist because of category. They're not
under Oppie, they are innocent because they don't have the capability to process it.
No, I think Oppie does include that there has to be an agent of some kind that's capable of discernment.
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe. Well, I shouldn't say capable of discernment because babies aren't capable of having that, but potentially later on they can.
What did you say, Jay?
No, I was reading Sully's
comment.
He said rocks are apathetic for lacking concern.
I don't think rocks are apathetic. Apathetic is a state of mind. Apathy is a state of mind. It's a psychological state. Rocks don't have psychological states. Good grief.
It's ridiculous, man. Anyway.
But this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm saying, Jim. People come to my comment section and they think that they know what the hell they're talking about. And all they do is look like idiots. And I don't want to waste my time with them.
And this is the problem. Like Jay said, you know, these people, you know, they think that they're right about it, but not only do they think they're right about it, but they're confident enough in throwing it out. And I mean, knowing that they're going to get called out on it, and when they're called out on it, instead of backing down, they double down.
Yeah. So why is it that any of them can't find a logician to actually agree with them? And they'll even say they're
intellectually dishonest.
But they're even saying this.
They are,
like, okay,
they are unwilling to say that they are capable of wrongness.
But Jim, they'll say this. Like, okay, you know, it's okay, fine. You have a lot of people that agree with you that are very knowledgeable of these topics, and we can't find anybody who agrees with us. But you're still wrong. Okay, whatever, dude. If that's your standard, go nuts. I'd rather be in the group of experts who think I'm right than somebody that I can tell doesn't have a fucking clue what they're talking about.
Yeah, other than like talking to people who just parrot the person that I'm person, be like, I'm right. Because he says we're right, so I'm right because you say I'm right because he's right.
Right.
All right.
All right. But anyways, I'm going to end this. Thanks for watching this, guys. See you guys tonight on the Non Sequitur show with Jesse Lee Peterson. Oh my God. I'm going to apologize in advance for that. Don't hate me. How bad could it be though? I don't know. I shouldn't ask that.
I'm gonna cruise over and check out Cirrus. You guys should do the same.
I might check him out too. I got to do a favor for a friend real quick. All right. Peace.